Hey, back with you again. Now, before I get started, there's going to be some profanity in this video. So, if you're a parent with kids, you pause the video and get your children out of the room, and you unpause the video once they're out of the room. Duh. But those who are sub to me already know the drill, so I don't even need to tell you that. Well, this video is going to be about Kamala Harris, and as you can tell by the title, I am not too happy with this piece of work. That's the best way I can put it. But you know what? And then of course, and then this will be a message to all the stupid ass black feminists and to all the fucking Roland Martins out there that are saying if Kamala Harris doesn't get in or get elected, and some opportunities out there opportunities to say like if she doesn't get in, you know what, it's black men's fault. No. I'll tell you why she's losing support and why she's not gonna get in, because and why her support's going down the shitter. It's because it's a black man on to blame. It's gonna be her anti-blackness and her being a turncoat is to blame, and how she has constantly fucked over the black community all over and over again. So yeah. So of course, so that was her own doing. Not black people who could think for them fucking selves and actually did their fucking research to expose Kamala Harris. So if you think I'm talking out of my ass, why don't we get started? Okay. Kamala Harris was not a progressive prosecutor. With the growing recognition that prosecutors hold key to the fair criminal justice system, that term, progressive prosecutor, has almost become trendy. This is how Senator Kamala Harris of California, a likely presidential candidate, a former prosecutor, describes herself, but she's not. Time after time, when progressives urged her to embrace her urged her to embrace criminal justice reforms as a district attorney and then state's attorney general, Miss Harris opposed them or stayed silent. Most troubling, Miss Harris fought tooth and nail to uphold wrongful convictions that had been secured through official misconduct that included evidence tampering, false testimony, and suppression of crucial information by prosecutors. And these dumbasses think I'm supposed to vote for her? Now, continuing. Consider her record as San Francisco's district attorney from 2004 to 2011. Miss Harris was criticized in 2010 for withholding information about a police laboratory technician who had been accused of intentionally sabotaging her work and stealing drugs from the lab. And that junkie lab tech, his name is Deborah Mandan. If you want to read more info, I'll put a link below. Yeah, you see her mugshot? Just there smiling. Ugh. And she do look like a meth head. But you know what? Continuing. And she do look like a junkie. I wouldn't be surprised she doing meth as well. Wouldn't surprise me, well, not one bit. But continuing. Okay. But so of course, stealing from the lab. Okay, after a memo surfaced showing that Miss Harris's deputies knew about the technician's wrongdoing and recent conviction, but failed to alert the defense lawyers, a judge condemned Miss Harris's indifference to the systematic violation of the defendant's constitutional rights. Miss Harris contested by arguing that the judge, whose husband was a defense attorney, had spoken publicly about the importance of disclosing evidence, had a conflict of interest. Miss Harris lost. More than 600 cases handled by the corrupt technician were dismissed. Wow. But continuing, Ms. Harris also championed the state legislation under which parents whose children were found to be habitually truant in elementary school could be prosecuted, despite concerns that it would disproportionately affect low-income black people, or it'll just affect black people. This just because that's who gets affected most. I'm not doing that people of color shtick. I've got my reasons, but I digress. I'm not gonna get into that. But Ms. Harris was, and also not to mention, she was kind of laughing, like saying, "Oh, geez, I don't know what's the big deal. Why are people so upset about it?" Which I'll post a video of that, her disturbing laugh. This half is sinister. But I'll continue. Ms. Harris was similarly aggressive as the state's attorney general when a federal judge in Orange County ruled that the death penalty was unconstitutional in 2014. Ms. Harris appealed. In a public statement, she made the bizarre state argument that the decision undermines important protections that our courts provide to defendants. The approximately 740 men and women awaiting execution in California states might disagree. Continuing. In 2014, she declined to take a position on Proposition 47, a ballot initiative approved by voters that reduced certain low-level felonies to misdemeanors. She laughed that year when a reporter asked if she would support the legalization of marijuana for recreational use, and then Ms. Harris finally reversed the course in 2018. How convenient. After the public opinion had shifted on the topic. Yeah, she always kind of laughs at the most inappropriate stuff and at the most inappropriate times. Yeah, notice that. So in 2015, she opposed a bill requiring her office to investigate shootings involving police officers. And she refused to support statewide standards regulating the use of body cameras by police officers. For this incurred a criticism from an array of left-leaning reformers, including Democratic state senators, the ACLU, and San Francisco's elected public defender. The activist Felicia Jones, who supported Harris for years, asked how many more people need to die before she steps in. Worst of all, though Ms. Harris' record in wrongful conviction had I'm sorry, I had a long day. Worst of all, though, is Ms. Harris's record in wrongful conviction cases. Consider George Gates, the electrician with no criminal record who was charged with allegedly sexually abusing his stepdaughter, who reported the allegations years later. But the case was largely unhinged on the stepdaughter's testimony, and Mr. Gage was convicted. Afterward, the judge discovered that the prosecutor had unlawfully held back potentially exculpatory evidence, including medical reports indicating that the stepdaughter had been repeatedly untruthful with law enforcement, and her mother described it as a pathological liar and who lives in lies. So in 2015, when the case reached the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit in San Francisco, Ms. Harris' prosecutor defended the conviction. They pointed out that Mr. Gage, while forced to act as his own lawyer, they had not properly raised the legal issue. Not raised the legal issue in the lower court as required. The appellate judges acknowledged the impediment that sent the case in mediation. So it is clear that Ms. Harris, in mediation, a clear signal for Ms. Harris to dismiss the case. But when she refused to budge, the court upheld the conviction on that technicality. Mr. Gage is still serving prison is still in prison serving a 70-year sentence. I'm sorry, I've just had a long day today, but I had to do this video to get this out of the way, and plus it needs to be addressed and needs to be discussed. That case is not an outliner. Ms. Harris also fought to keep Daniel Larson in prison on a 28-year sentence for possession of a concealed weapon, even though his lawyer was incompetent and there was compelling evidence of his innocence. Relying on a technicality again, Ms. Harris argued that Ms. Larson failed to raise his legal arguments in a timely fashion. This time she lost. And she also defended Johnny Baca's conviction for murder, even though the judges found a prosecutor presented false testimony at the trial. So she relented only after the video of the oral argument received national attention and embarrassed her office. And then there's Kevin Cooper. That's another one. I will put a link below, but I can't go on the video too long. But I will post an article about Kevin Cooper, whose was horrible. The death row inmate whose trial was infected by racism and corruption, and he sought advanced DNA testing to prove his innocence, but Miss Harris opposed it. Until, it was only after the New York Times and public backlash expose of the case went viral, she reversed her position. So she's letting him get the DNA testing. All this is a shame because the state's top prosecutor has the power and the imperative to seek justice in cases of tainted convictions. That means conceding error, overturning them, rather than fulfilling the obligation. Ms. Harris turned illegal technicalities into a weapon so she could cement injustices. In the truths we hold, which She posted like this BS memoir. If you want to go read it, you can go click the link. But I'm not gonna read the quote because it's very aggravating and it just disgusts me and just shows what a hypocrite and also how she contradicts herself. But continuing, all too often she was on the wrong side of history. Well, she was on the wrong side of history. Period. So it is true politicians must make concessions to get support of key interest groups, but the fierce collective opposition of law enforcement and district attorney associations can be hard to overcome the ballot box. But in her career, Ms. Harris did not barter or trade to get the support of more conservative law and order types, so she gave it all away. Of course, the full picture is more complicated. During her tenure as a district attorney, she refused to seek the death penalty in a case involving the murder of a police officer, and she started a successful program that offered time of nonviolent offenders a chance to have their charges dismissed if they completed rigorous vocational training. But as general attorney, she mandated the implicit bias training and was awarded in correcting a backlog in the testing of rape kits. But if Kamala Harris wants people to care about dismantling the mass incarceration and miscarriages of justice to vote for her, she needs to radically break from her past. And a good step would be to apologize for the wrongfully convicted and also make fucking amends, but and also give black people the tangibles. But of course she won't do that, which is why her popularity is going down the shitter and why her support is going down the shitter too. But she has fought to keep in prison to do what she can what she can to make sure they get justice. But she should start with George Gaze and Kevin Cooper, which I will post a link about that case. All right, and that's about it. But y'all want me to support? Y'all want me to support this piece of work right here? This, I mean, like this. There's no words. It's just like, wow. And I know like some of these stupid ass black feminists, I'm just saying, you're trying to steal her black girl magic and her black excellence and all that shit. No, no, no. You don't put her in that category because guess what? She's just nothing but an anti-ruckus. As far as I'm fucking concerned. She's nothing but a turncoat. So if you stupid asses out there, like you stupid ass black feminists and opportunists and your Roland Martins out there are gonna be like, let's blame a black man if she doesn't get because she's losing the popularity. No, it's her anti-blackness is what did it for her. And it's her being a fucking turncoat is what did it. Is what did her in. She caused this. And even though she tried to make a little faux apology saying she has regrets and shit, and then she's trying to pander by playing Cardi B and shtick like that and only trying to say she's black when she's convenient. No. Let me tell you something. She is no Marilyn Mosby. I will tell you that. Which I'll be doing a video about Marilyn Mosby. Shout out to that sister. What she's doing, of course, that's going to piss Kamala Harris off. But you know what? Kamala Harris, you're no Marilyn Mosby. Let's just put it that way. You're not, and she certainly doesn't get my vote. And to you stupid ass black feminists out there, if you're gonna like the moment she does not get in and you try to blame black man, trust me, I'll be putting your asses on blast in my video as well. So there's a lot of black women that are not feeling her as well. A lot of black women like me that are not feeling this piece of work. Y'all can get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.